Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and this is a request video. I got a request for a topic from J Hobson623. He sent me this message. He says, I've been hearing a lot about this ridiculous idea that Ring of Honor will or should take TNA's spot on Spike, and also that it would be strong competition for WWE to the point that it would make WWE alter its programming. He asked for my thoughts on this. He also asked, do you think there's a chance that Ring of Honor could survive on a mainstream level if it were picked up by Spike? So this question actually tied into some thoughts on a video that I was going to do. I was actually debating if I was going to do it as a YouTube video or if I was going to do it as another article for Bleacher Report. Also, shameless plug, if you didn't catch my earlier video today, I have a new article up at Bleacher Report called 5 Things That Wrestling Fans Need to Accept. And actually, this ties into one of them. The first thing on the list I said was that there will never be another wrestling war that involves the WWE, which relates into this topic. So I'm going to talk about the different aspects of this concept. First of all, I'm going to say that Ring of Honor, if it were on Spike TV or even on a better network, could not compete with the WWE. I'm going to talk about why. And however, I do think Ring of Honor could be good competition for TNA. And I'm going to talk about why I think that would be a good idea and would be really good for both companies. So, the reason I say that no company will ever be able to truly compete with WWE again is mainly because WWE has such a giant head start. WWE has been around for decades. They are ingrained into American society. They have stars that are household names. Hulk Hogan is a household name. Macho Man is a household name. Jake the Snake is a household name. Roddy Piper is a household name. You know, guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, The Rock, John Cena. Those are household names. Even people who don't watch wrestling know who most of those guys are. They also have lots of money. They're a billion-dollar company. They have a multi-million-dollar marketing machine behind them. The only way that any other wrestling promotion could compete with the WWE is if they, much like Ted Turner did, had millions upon millions of dollars right from the beginning. Okay, that is the main reason why I say TNA will never be true competition for the WWE. They simply don't have the money. People jump and say, oh, it's the writing or the booking or whatever. I don't care. Whoever you think is the best booker, you could put them in TNA, it still wouldn't be able to compete with WWE. You do not have the marketing machine, the decades of just history that they have. I mean, as much as I love TNA and as much as TNA is my favorite promotion, I am not foolish enough to think that they could ever be true big competition to the WWE. They don't have the money to do so. The only way WWE is so far beyond TNA right now that the only way TNA could ever catch up is if the WWE stopped growing, and that's not going to happen. WWE is always chugging forward, and they're not going to stop for anything. Alright? Now, Ring of Honor does not have the money to compete with WWE. They barely have the money to compete with TNA. You know, look at how far in advance they tape many of their shows. Ring of Honor's TV show on HDNet ends in April, and they taped all the episodes leading up to that last month sometime. I think if their TV tapings, they would tape like 2 months of TV at a time, and that would hurt them against trying to compete with TNA right there. And like I said, you need a lot of money right off the bat to compete with WWE. And even if you did have the money, why would you? How would it benefit you to compete with WWE if you have that kind of money? I mean, if I had the money to compete with WWE in wrestling, I wouldn't do it. I'd put my wrestling show on like Wednesday or Saturday where nobody else is on. Let's talk Ted Turner. Ted Turner, actually, it's Actually, I think either this week or last week was the 10-year anniversary of the end of WCW. And wow, 10 years since WCW left. I still, sidebar for just a second, man, I still remember where I was when I heard about the purchase. Let me not get off topic. I'm gonna do a video about WCW at a later day, because I want to say a lot about WCW. I was a big WCW fan. But anyway, Ted Turner, when he started the Monday Night Wars, he was already a billionaire. He had the money to, he was able to put millions of dollars into marketing the way WWE did. He also owned his own two TV stations. He owns TNT and TBS, okay? So that means he could put, that means the man who owned the company also owned his own networks to air his show on. He could put his show on any day or time that he wanted, and there was never any risk of them losing their TV deal for any reason, except that when the company got sold. The merger is what killed it more than anything else. He could put WCW on any day at any time. Eric Bischoff talked about it. He said, the WCW got his time slot because Ted Turner said, give Eric 2 hours on Monday night. That was it. Done deal. I own WCW. I own a TV network. I'll put them on whenever I want to. And when he wanted another wrestling show, he said, hey, Eric, I want another wrestling show. Thunder. That's where Thunder came from. I'm give me another 2 hours a week. We're going to put it on Wednesdays. Or either Thursday. I think Thunder started on Thursdays and then it moved to Wednesdays. And anyway, TNA, WCW had the luxury of, they could have their show on whenever they want. It could be live if they wanted to, and they could have as much television time as they want. TNA and Ring of Honor don't have such a luxury. They still have to placate to a network. The idea of Ring of Honor ever being able to truly compete with WWE to the point that they would make WWE change their TV programming, that is laughable. Unless a billionaire with his own network were to buy Ring of Honor and put millions into it. That's the only way. Look, Ring of Honor as it is now would be less of a threat to WWE than TNA is. You might have hardcore wrestling fans choosing it, but Ring of Honor doesn't cater to enough casual fans to bring in enough ratings. They would never outdraw the WWE. WWE appeals to the casual fan. There are way more casual fans. Ring of Honor only appeals to the very hardcore wrestling fans, and not even all of them. Because I'm a hardcore wrestling fan, and I find Ring of Honor to be boring. Not all wrestling hardcore fans like Ring of Honor. There's a lot of people like me who find Ring of Honor to be kind of dull and boring. But their fan base isn't big enough for not only would Ring of Honor need the money to market, they would also have to change their program to appeal to enough of the casual audience that they could get ratings as high as WWE does, and that would require them to change their programming into something that the hardcore fans wouldn't even like. TNA, let me say it like this: TNA versus WWE is like David versus Goliath. Ring of Honor versus WWE would be David the Gnome versus Goliath. So I know that there's a lot of Ring of Honor fans out there. There's a lot of people who like Ring of Honor. I'm not a fan, but I got nothing against the promotion. Just doesn't appeal to me. But sorry, no. I can accept the fact that TNA isn't going to compete with WWE. You need to accept the fact that Ring of Honor isn't going to either, unless somebody dumps $100 million into the company, and they change enough of their programming enough to appeal to casual fans. It's not going to happen. Sorry. So get that little pipe. Go ahead and get that pipe dream out of here. I don't know who said that J-Hop here said that, but if you really think that just putting Ring of Honor in TNA's time slot would make them a big enough competition that they would actually cause WWE to alter its programming, you're living in a dream world. If you believe that, my question for you is, what color is the sky in your world? It ain't gonna happen. Now, Ring of Honor competing with TNA, that's a much more realistic and viable option. And although I'm not a Ring of Honor fan, I would really like to see Ring of Honor compete with TNA. Ring of Honor is not going to take TNA's spot on Spike TV anytime soon. Spike TV and TNA still have a contract, and I believe it doesn't expire until next year. So, well, that sells their route. They still have a contract. I could see Spike TV picking up Ring of Honor and putting it on a different night of the week. In fact, I would totally support it. I would be all for Spike TV picking up Ring of Honor and putting it on Wednesdays or Friday. Well, not Friday. SmackDown's on Friday. Saturday, yeah. TNA on Thursday and Ring of Honor on Saturdays, or maybe Ring of Honor on Wednesday or something like that, or move TNA to Wednesday and put Ring of Honor on Thursday, whatever. But I could see that happening. That would be good for Spike. I mean, it would be good for Ring of Honor because they have a better network. They have a network that's in a lot more homes. Spike TV has always marketed itself as, the man channel, and it has MMA, and now it has the second largest wrestling promotion in America. Now it would have the second and third largest wrestling promotions in America. Better yet, if Ring of Honor is going to stay a 1-hour show, they could put it on at 7 o'clock right before Impact and make Thursday wrestling night. Ring of Honor and TNA on wrestling night. That could work too. I think direct competition would be very good for TNA because, everybody knows that TNA is a direct competition for the WWE, but in a way, WWE isn't direct competition for TNA. WWE is not on Thursday nights. Not at the same time TNA is on. I mean, I don't consider direct competition is if they're on the same night. Same time, same night. And WWE has never put his show on the same night and time as TNA. It's just another wrestling promotion on another night. I don't consider TNA to be competition for the WWE, but I've never considered WWE to be competition for TNA. They're not actively trying to take TNA's viewership away. It's a different night. They do not care. WCW and WWF were in direct competition. They were on the same night at the same time. They were actively trying to take each other's talent. And WWE isn't actively trying to take TNA's viewers, not talent, excuse me. Why did I just say that? Sorry, I just caught my thought there. WCW and WWE were actively trying to take each other's audience. They were actively trying to take each other's viewers. If you were watching WWF on Monday night, that meant you were not watching WCW on Monday night. That's why back during that time, I was in junior high then, I was flipping back and forth through channels just like the rest of you were. I would flip back, watch a few minutes of Raw, flip over to Nitro, what happened on Nitro, flip back to Raw. You can't, unless you have, I used to wish I had some of that picture-in-picture and stuff. They were actively competing for the exact same viewers on the exact same night of the week. That has never been the case with WWE and TNA, except for when TNA tried to go to Monday nights and got their butt whooped. And they learned from it. Look, WWE isn't, and with Superstars going off the air soon, there's going to be no other wrestling on Thursday night. So there you go. I would like Ring of Honor to get a new TV deal, and I would like it to be on Thursday nights at the exact same time as TNA. I would really like to have that direct competition. And while I've never been a fan of Ring of Honor and always found it boring, I might be willing to give it another chance. Now, I live in Korea, so I won't be watching them on TV. But if I were still living in the U.S. and I'm watching Impact on Thursday nights, and there's a segment of Impact that I'm not really into, and I know that Ring of Honor is on at the same time, I flip over to Ring of Honor and see what they're doing on Thursday night. Them being on the same time as Impact would make me more likely to watch them. Because as much as I love Impact, I don't love everything about it. At some point there's going to be if I'm watching Impact, at some point there's going to be a Rob Van Dam match, and I would change the channel. Whoa, Rob Van Dam's on. I don't want to see that. I'd flip over to Ring of Honor. Let's see what Ring of Honor is doing during this time, and I'll watch ROH until the Rob Van Dam match is over. It would be really good for TNA because they would be able to better see what is and isn't working. Because seeing like who flips the channel doing something, that's one thing, but it's if someone is actively switching over to your competition, that's more meaningful. You know, I remember hearing interview with D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown used to co-host a wrestling radio show called Between the Ropes, and I remember him last year talking about the Monday Night Wars. He was talking about how he said, you know, you weren't during that time, you weren't competing with the guy in the ring, you were competing with what was on WCW. And he talked about how Vince McMahon would always compare the ratings for the head-to-head hour. You know, it'd be like the second hour of Nitro was head-to-head with the first hour of Raw, and he said, you know, Vince would always compare. And if he saw in the ratings that during your segment people switched from Raw to Nitro, you were in trouble. He said Vince would always look to see how many people were watching when the shows were on at the same time, and whose segments gained viewers, whose segments lost viewers. How many times did somebody switch from Raw to Nitro? And he said, you know, Vince would always look at that, and that's really something that would help TNA. That would really help them say, okay, this segment made people switch to our competition, so we're doing something wrong with whatever this is. And then they could look at the Ring of Honor and say, okay, what made people switch over from Ring of Honor to us? What were we doing good? Okay, this segment made people turn off Ring of Honor and turn on TNA. This is good. We need to keep doing this. But this segment here made people turn off TNA and switch over to Ring of Honor. This is bad. We need to stop doing this. It would be really good. It would really help them see what's working and what isn't. Let's see. Also, it would, you know, competition would light that fire under creative. I think, you know, for all the shit that Vince Russo gets, Vince Russo has written some really great stuff in the past. You know, he did some really good stuff when he was in WWE, and for a while in WCW he did some good stuff, but he ended up kind of, well, in WCW Vince Russo had too many people in his fucking way. And I think that's been a lot of his problem in TNA, that there's too many people in his way. The one time that Vince Russo was pretty much left to write the show on his own with only one other person, everybody liked it. That was when Dixie Carter sent Jeff Jarrett home and fired Dutch Mantell and got rid of Savio Vega. And for like about 5 months, it was just Vince Russo and Matt Conway. And I remember some of TNA's harshest critics were talking about how much better the show was, about how good that show was during those 5 months. It was like that 5 months before Hogan and Bischoff showed up. And I remember people who were just some of the biggest critics of TNA, people who used to trash TNA. I would go on to wrestling radio shows and hear those same people say, man, this show is so much better. This show has gotten so good since Dixie got rid of Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantell and got these people out of the way. And I remember so many people just talking about how much better the show was. And that 5 month stretch was Vince Russo and Matt Conway. When Vince Russo was in WWF, he had one guy as his filter, Vince McMahon. He wrote some of the best stuff in wrestling history. When Vince Russo was in TNA with just one guy, just Vince Russo and Matt Conway, one guy to filter him, he wrote some really good stuff. We got a lot of the young guys got pushed. They had some really good storylines. We got a AJ versus Christopher Daniels feud that was good until Hogan and Bischoff came in and fucked that up. We had the World Elite. We had, you had some really good stuff. But, direct competition would light the fire. People always talk about the reason they want TNA to be successful because the business needs competition. They talk about how great WWE was when they had competition, how competition lit the fire under Vince McMahon and made him put out and just made him put out better television. He put out better stuff because he had to put out better stuff because he had another company trying to take away his viewers and put him out of business. And it lit a fire under him, and he ended up coming up with, and he and his people came up with some of the best stuff ever. Well, I'm saying the same thing could work for Vince Russo or whoever you put in charge. I'm saying Vince Russo hasn't since he's been in TNA, he hasn't had somebody directly competing with him for viewers. I think some direct competition would light the fire under him, and he could and he could be the Vince Russo of old, the guy who used to put out great shit all the time. Vince Russo used to put out good stuff all the time. And I think some direct competition would really light that fire under TNA and really make them say, you know what, we got to beat these people. You know, everybody says TNA needs to stop worrying about WWE. They need to worry about themselves more and focus on themselves more. Direct competition would do that. Again, so I'm gonna say, while I am not a Ring of Honor fan, if they were on Thursday nights, the same going head to head with TNA, that would make me want to check them out just to see what. I would watch them just to see what they're going to present to compete with TNA. TNA is a bigger company and it's more established. More people know about TNA than they do Ring of Honor, so they would be competing with a more established company with more money, more disposable income, and I would want to see what they do to compete. It would give fans more of a choice in wrestling. People who aren't happy with WWE and aren't happy with TNA have that alternative. It would be another wrestling war. It wouldn't be as big as the one we got in between WWF and WCW. It would be as big as the Monday Night War, but a Thursday Night War could produce some very entertaining stuff. You know, maybe, I don't think anybody's ever going to take the number one spot away from WWE. But there's nothing wrong with two guys fighting it out for number two. You know, if you're competing in the Olympics and you realize that, okay, I'm out of the running for the gold medal, but I'm still in the running for the silver medal, you'll still fight with everything you got to win that silver medal. If you realize in the Olympics, hey, I can't get the gold, but I can get the silver, you will fight with everything you got. I would give everything I got to get that silver. I can't get the gold, but goddamn it, I'm taking that silver if it kills me. I don't see a problem with that. Let me check my time real quick. I am at 22 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else I want to say about this topic? But to recap, will Ring of Honor could Ring of Honor survive on a mainstream level if it were picked up by Spike TV? Yes, it could, but they would need more money. It would be a money issue for Ring of Honor. If somebody with some money were to financially back Ring of Honor, TNA has Panda Energy backing them. If Ring of Honor had a company that could back them with money the way Panda Energy backs TNA, that would really help. I think money is going to be the thing that keeps Ring of Honor from being as big as it could be. Although I'm not a Ring of Honor fan, I totally support the company. I don't hate Ring of Honor. I don't think they should change it, because I realized, although I don't like it, and a lot of other people do, I want more. I want wrestling to be bigger. I want there to be more bigger companies. And there's a whole lot of wrestlers out there, and not enough companies for them to work in. Could they compete with WWE? Not a chance in hell, unless somebody with hundreds of millions of dollars invested in Ring of Honor. You could take the internet darling Paul Heyman, put him in charge of Ring of Honor. It still wouldn't be able to compete with WWE. He put on a good show, but they would get destroyed by the WWE. The money thing is a very, very big issue. Without somebody, I'll say it again. Without a very, 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 very large checkbook, you are not going to be able to compete with WWE. TNA does not have a big enough checkbook to compete with WWE. Ring of Honor doesn't. Nobody else does. You need a lot of money. You need money. You need 2 hours. You need more than 2 hours of television a week. TNA needs more TV time. That would help them. You need a solid spot on a good network on a good night. Just putting Ring of Honor on Spike TV for 2 hours on Thursday nights is not going to be enough. It would help the company grow, but it's not going to help them grow enough to make the money that they need to compete with WWE. The money thing is going to keep you from competing with WWE. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, let me just go ahead and end it there. So this is the Shadow Ranger. J-Hop, thank you for the question. That was a good idea for a video. Thank you for listening. I'm still collecting questions to do a Q&A video. Let me see. I want to get at least a good 15 questions before I do one and just do one long video, but maybe 10 will be enough. I got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got like 8 questions now, so if I get 2 more questions in, that'll be 10, and I'll go ahead and do the first one. Alright, this is the Shadow Ranger. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.